So while a lot of the videos I have currently are continuing to expand on either practical things about writing or beginning to work through what model for writing that I call the 8 aspects of writing. I don't know that I've fully made clear, at least not through YouTube or through videos for my classes yet, why I do projects the way I do or why I care about the 8 aspects of writing in the first place. So one of the reasons that the 8 aspects of writing became part of my dissertation and became the main framing for that 140-page beast of a project in that dissertation for my doctorate was because I began noticing that writing courses, one, weren't really respected by students. Still struggling with that, and sometimes not respected even in the institution because it can sometimes be seen as a skills course, and that's just not how I wanted writing to be seen. A writing course, in my mind, is a content course, and so a lot of the scholarship that I looked at for my dissertation was built on a framing of writing by Downes and Wardle that's called Writing About Writing. I also liked teaching for transfer and those sorts of things, but that's more the metacognitive side. But Writing About Writing is basically an approach that tries to value writing as a true course instead of a course that says let's talk about any old topic we want, and as long as you can practice writing, we're good with that. That is a skills course, and that's not, I don't think that's all writing can be. So a lot of my courses end up feeling now, as opposed to 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago when I first started teaching writing at the college level. My courses now have a drastic shift where writing is content. And so part of what I want to do is not just give you practical knowledge as if you're a student, give practical knowledge on how to do writing, but I want people to realize through my class or through my presentation of the 8 aspects. If you're faculty, that's cool too. But realize that writing has its own content, and there's a certain benefit to being able to name what we know, as the book title says. There's a certain benefit to being able to call something out as a specific practice. There's a reason why in chemistry you have to learn how molecules are built, and not just how to solve equations or do dimensional analysis or whatever, but you need to know what the names of the things are. It helps. And I think a lot of times if we've named anything in writing, a lot of times it gets shifted to some pretty simple grammar terms that people learned in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and we just continue to reiterate those, or it gets focused to more simplistic rhetorical foundations like logos, pathos, ethos, which has been around for 2 millennia or more technically. But so when I look at writing, I have the 8 aspects model, but the purpose of that is because I want writing to be a content course. I want people to not just know how to write effectively, but have a model for writing that allows them to adapt what they know about writing to any particular situation. And so that's where I came up with the 8 aspects model. And so a lot of what I'm thinking about when I'm looking at this is I'm trying to give people a way to understand all the disparate facts, the random things they've learned about writing, into an organized understanding, a system of understanding that, and I've talked about that a little more in other videos about the 8 aspects. But writing is a content course. There is content to writing. There's specific vocabulary. There are experts in the field who have named things, named practices, rhetorical practices, who have come up with new ways of approaching ideas and how to communicate them, who have applied writing principles into not just aesthetic context, but technical writing context, professional writing context, scientific context, academic context, social media context. There's so much out there about writing that I want my course to, I want the students or teachers who see anything from my course to realize that writing is more than just a practice, though that's important. Writing is a practice, writing is a process, writing is a form of discovery, but a writing course is a content course. There are real lessons that don't just change how you think as a person, but allow you, but by learning some of the language of what writing is and learning how the principles apply to a variety of contexts, you become a better writer because you're not just doing it, but you're able to explain why you're doing it to the stakeholders in your particular environment, whether that's your boss and you talking through why you felt it was important to use a transition when you're building that web page for that new product, or whatever the case is, when you're writing a report, when you're building a spreadsheet, or building a PowerPoint, whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. So writing is a content course. There are lessons about how to do it, and there are lessons that it's important to have a base content knowledge, a certain amount of vocabulary, and the ability to explain what is happening when you come into the presence of writing in everyday life. And it happens whether you're looking at a cereal box, or whether you're looking at a report, or whether you're reading an email from a boss or a professor, or whether you're dealing with trying to write your own will, or whether if someone dies in your family, trying to interpret that, legalese and that sort of thing. There are all these different ways that writing can come into play in an everyday environment. And so when students ask questions of me like, why are we doing this weird project? If you look through my YouTube, you'll find projects on writing cultures. You'll see that include analyzing video games through the writing lens. You'll see projects that deal with kind of just emotional processing, and that's a thing. I've had students look at writing in their everyday life, and they start going to the grocery store and talking about the labels on products and the nutrition facts bar, or the way things are priced. All of those things are writing practices, and so I want students and teachers to be able to look at writing in their everyday life and not just go, that's interesting, or I have this emotional tug, but I don't know what to call it, and instead look at those things in their everyday life and go, oh, that's an instance where they used effective visual design, bright colors to draw my focus, or a sense of dominance or hierarchy or unity to really make it sing, and where previously I might have just been emotionally drawn to that. Now hopefully I can begin explaining what is it that makes me think that writing practice is cool, or that product is cool, and is that the right reason to want to buy that product over this product, or whatever, depending on what the project is that I have students doing. So writing is a content course. A writing course should be a content course, even if it's first year writing and not upper division. We should be giving students an idea that writing is so much more than just my grammar or classical literature, or telling people why they're wrong and I'm right. There's a lot more to it. And so that's what I try and do, and have tried to do with a lot of my teaching materials and a lot of my projects. That's why I do what I do. Writing is a content course, not just a skills course. Writing has meat to it, and learning not just how to do it or practicing how to do it on any old topic, but writing about writing in a way that you can understand what it is, what to call it, how it works, how to explain it. That's the core of why we should have writing about writing courses. Courses that focus on our content as writing teachers or as writers, and not just any old topic.